So the Unrivaled final was yesterday, and one player that barely saw the floor was Lexie Hull. And Lexie Hull, you got the full Lexie Hull experience in Unrivaled. You got the full Lexie Hull experience, which is, as Jose Mourinho as Gattuso once said, I need to wait till 30 seconds to say this, but as Gennaro Gattuso once said, sometime may be good, sometime may be shit. Like, that is the best way to describe Lexie Hull. But Lexie Hull, in Unrivaled, was a embarrassingly bad three-point shooter. Like, genuinely, these are the three-point percentages. And people talking about Lexie Hull being some sniper. 1 of 1, or 1 of 2, 1 of 5, 1 of 3, 1 of 3, 0 of 1, 0 of 4, 0 of 2, 3 of 6, 0 of 4, 0 of 3, 0 of 1, 1 of 4. And then went 0 of 5 from the field in the semi-final. Like, I would be, dear Indiana Fever fans, like, we've got to talk basketball. When most people, we've got to talk basketball. Like, I'm hearing people, I'm like in shock. I am just in shock about some of the talks from people being like, Lexie Hull is going to be the best. Lexie Hull is a hustle player. Lexie Hull is not a shooter. Lexie Hull is not a shooter. There is a 10-game stretch where she went ultra hot. She had her insanity run. And I really hope I think Lexie Hull is like a legitimate positive player for the team. Like, I hope that she is a positive player for the team. But, like, outside of her insanity run, she's been a hustle player, and she's going to be a hustle player. Like, there are going to be games where Lexie Hull gets DNPs next season. Unless she goes on a insanity run again, which she might do. She genuinely might do. And you might be saying, oh, you know, all of that is playing with Caitlin Clark. That'll help her. It will. She's literally breaking open shots. The only three-pointer she made in her last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. The only three-pointer she made in her last 6 games, she banked. Like, we got to just be honest when it comes to Lexie Hull. Like, she was getting benched for a reason. Her energy was great. Like, in all of these games, by the way, her defense was great. Her energy was great. She was coming in and giving hustle. But when it mattered, she didn't play. And it's the same thing with the fans talking about Jaelyn Brown. Like, Jaelyn Brown hit a game winner. And people are saying, oh yeah, Jaelyn Brown, people have written her off. She's going to be a great player. She hit a game winner in Russia. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong stat page. She hit a game winner in Russia where, I'm not joking when I say this, she is having one of the worst seasons I've ever seen a professional basketball player have. I'm not joking when I say that. Like, in Russia, she hit a fluke game winner on her 8th point after shooting 3 of 9 from the field, shooting 2 of 8 from the field up to that point. She has, this is Russia, by the way, since the 14th, when was the last time she scored over 12 points in a game? It was the 19th of October. Was the last time she scored more than 12 points in a game in Russia. There is a player that might be a 3rd-round pick that's averaging like 12 points a game in Russia. Like, she is having one of the worst seasons of all time. 35% from 2 and 28% from 3. She's shooting 30% from the field. She is shooting 30% from the freaking field. Like, we are watching somebody shoot 30% from the field, and people are just hyping them up like they're going to be this unbelievable player. Just like we saw the Lexie Hull insanity run, and we think that's going to be something that'll carry on. We got to be honest about Lexie Hull. She's a hustle player. She's going to earn minutes through her defense, and she's going to earn minutes through her defense, and she's going to have to hit shots to get more minutes. Lexie Hull is outside of a 10-game stretch, she is one of the worst shooters a professional basketball player in history. She is shooting outside of her 10-game insanity run. I'm not joking when I say this. Lexie Hull is shooting like 19% from 3 in her professional career. 19%. Like, we've got to be real here. Like, she's getting benched for a reason. Like, she got benched last year for a reason. And I do think her DNPs while Christy Wallace was playing was crazy. Was crazy because at least she comes out and can guard people and play good defense. And that's all we can expect. Like, we have to keep expectations low for Lexie Hull. Because we saw it early in Unrivaled, she wasn't really given a chance, and then she comes and gets a chance and she has a great game. And again, we can look at Unrivaled if we want to look at player statistics. I'm pretty confident her and Aaliyah Boston were the literal 2 lowest scores. And for people saying her game doesn't translate for 3-on-3, I think her game perfectly translates for 3-on-3. She just couldn't hit a shot. Like, she was missing layups. Fever fans want to complain about Angel Reese missing layups. Lexie Hull was missing layups. But the one thing Lexie Hull did well was Lexie Hull really, really, genuinely did a really good job on the defensive end. And that's what we can expect from Lexie Hull. A player who one game will get 20 minutes, the other game will get 2. Like, she's going to be an energy player. And I think people are expecting way too much out of her coming into the season. Like, Lexie Hull is a hustle player. First and foremost, she's a hustle player. She's going to give energy. But, like, I've heard people saying she's going to be competing with DeWanna Bonner for a starting spot. She's going to be competing for minutes this year. Like, she's not going to be competing for a starting spot to start the season. She's going to be competing for minutes. And that's fine. This is a winning team. And in fairness to Lexie Hull, you need hustle players. You need role players. You need players that know their role on a team. And I think she's going to be extremely important for that. But there are going to be games where she gets 2 minutes during the season. There are going to be games where she plays 25 minutes. There's going to be injuries to the team and she's going to have to play different roles. But there are going to be games where she might get DNPs. Like, as far as the rotation, Sophie Cunningham is better at basketball than Lexie Hull. She's just better. Bree Turner, I don't know if Bree Turner is better at basketball than Lexie Hull. Dammers, and they don't play the same position. Dammers Dantas obviously does not play anywhere near the same position. Sydney Colson is not better at basketball than Lexie Hull. I'll give her that. But, like, it is going to be really tough for Lexie Hull. For Lexie Hull to break back into, not even back into starters, but break into a good spot in the Fever rotation. And she's going to have to prove that the Linsanity run wasn't a fluke. That it wasn't a fluke. And I understand, obviously, hardcore Fever fans wanting to hype every single player. Like, I want the Fever to win the championship. But at the same time, this isn't the freaking Fever fan page. When we're talking about basketball, we talk about basketball. And I'm sorry, if it's hating pointing out that outside of a 10-game stretch, Lexie Hull has been one of the worst 3-point shooters in professional basketball. Like, if you take out that 10-game stretch, she is statistically, as far as I'm aware, maybe there are worse players in the WNBA, but she is statistically one of the worst. She is shooting a lower 3-point percentage outside of those games than the worst NBA volume 3-point shooter ever did. Like, there are probably not that many more, like, 3-point shooters that have been worse than Lexie Hull. And yeah, it's an interesting one anyway to see how people think about this, because I know everyone is a big fan of Lexie Hull, and so am I for what she brings. I think Lexie Hull brings quite a lot to a team. She does not bring shooting. And let's just hope that her 3-point percentage is 30. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, she's a near 50% 3-point shooter. She just literally shot 70% over a 10-game stretch. She had one of the hottest of hot streaks I've ever seen. But she's come back down to earth with her shooting. Is missing open shots, is missing layups. It is. If I was the Fever, not that I would be concerned about Lexie Hull, because I do think she's going to come in and still give energy. I think she's going to still be do a lot of good things for the Fever. But we just cannot be sitting here expecting the Lexie Hull that we saw over that 10-game stretch to come back, because that could be Lexie Hull, And if that is the Lexie Hull we see, great. Absolutely fantastic. If that is the Lexie Hull that is there, the Fever are winning the championship. And there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it, by the way. If Lexie Hull doesn't even need to shoot 70%, if Lexie Hull for the season can shoot, let's just say what percentage she ended last season. Let's say 42% from three. If Lexie Hull shoots 42% from three, the Fever win the championship. On the season. No question about that. No ifs, ands, or buts. If Lexie Hull can be a 40+% three-point shooter, they win the championship. But I just don't think that it's fair to put that expectation on someone who has been a historically bad shooter. But yeah, you just never know. I'll see you guys.